Hello, Petal. How are you doing today? How are things going? Are you looking forward to another day of a double chapter? So today's the day. We're going to be finishing the book today. And as I said, I still do 2 separate chapters, but my goodness, got here in the end, didn't we? Bit later than I was anticipating, but we've done it. And what an awesome story it's been. Coming together of, 4 people that couldn't be, 4 people, entities who couldn't be more different against an enemy that is a really large and scary enemy, but is he? Or isn't he? Or is he one of those weird characters, the ones that are grinning and looking at you in the face and smiling sweetly while they're smacking you upside the head with a brick? Or a wet haddock, depending on the day. Yeah. I don't know where that came from. I probably will start maybe recording odds and gods on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday next week, but just purely because I want to get some done for Mary Poppins in the interim as well, in the middle there, but that'll be coming round in absolutely no time at all, because my goodness me, it's Friday. Hey. So we have got chapter 24 of Another Fine Myth by the wonderful, amazing and absolutely fantastic Mr. Robert of Aspirina. You gotta be subtle. M. Hammer. There was a tense, expectant silence as the foursome leaned forward to study their captives. It was as if 2 songbirds had tried to edge through a crowd of vultures to steal a snack, only to find they were the intended meal. I knelt, watching in frozen horror, fully expecting to witness the immediate demise of my 2 allies. Since Frumple's already announced us, Aahz said smoothly, I guess there's no need to maintain this disguise. The confident tone of his voice steadied my shattered nerve. We were in it now, and win or lose, we'd just have to keep going. Quickly I shut my eyes and removed Aahz's gawking disguise. Aahz, cried Ishtavan in delight. I should have known it was you. He's the one who, Brockhurst began. You 2 know each other? Frumple asked, ignoring the imp. Know each other? Ishtavan chortled. We're old enemies. He and a couple of other scallywags nearly destroyed me the last time we met. Well, it's our turn now, right, Ishtavan? Smiled Higgins, leisurely reaching for his crossbow. Now, said Ishtavan, picking the imp up by his head and shaking him gently. Mustn't rush things. Seems to me, Aahz sneered, that you're having trouble finding decent allies, Ishtavan. Oh, Aahz, Ishtavan laughed. Still the sharp tongue, eh? Imps? Aahz's voice was scornful. Come on, Ishtavan. Even you can. I said even you can do better than that. Ishtavan sighed and dropped Higgins back in his chair. Well, one does what one can. Inflation, He shook his head sadly, then brightened again. Oh, you don't know how glad I am to see you, Aahz. I thought I was going to have to wait until we conquered Perth before I got my revenge, and here you just walk in. Now don't you dare pop off before we've settled our score. I told you before, Frumple interrupted. He's lost his powers. Powers? He never had any powers, Quigley chimed in, baited from his frightened silence at the insult of having been ignored. Well, who have we here? Ishtavan smiled, looking at Quigley for the first time. Have we met? Say, I say, Ishtavan, interrupted Aahz. Mind if I have some of that wine? No reason to be barbaric about this. Certainly, Aahz. Ishtavan waved him forward. Help yourself. It was eerie, listening to the conversation. Apparently civilized and friendly, it had a cat-and-mouse undercurrent which belied the casual tones. Watch him, Frumple hissed, glaring at Aahz. Oh, Frumple, you are such a wart, Ishtavan scolded. Why, you were the one who assured me that he had lost his powers. Well, I think he makes sense, Brockhurst grumbled, rising and backing away as Aahz approached the table. If you don't mind, Ishtavan, I'll watch for him over here. He sat on the bottom steps of the flight of stairs heading up to the mezzanine where Tanda and I were hidden. His tone was conversational, but it was clear he was only waiting for Istvan's signal to loose him on the hapless pair.
"Oh, you imps are worse than the Veals,"
Istvan scowled. "That's a given," Frumple commented dryly. "Now look, Frumple," Higgins began angrily. "As to who this figure is," Frumple pointed to Quigley, ignoring the imps. "That is Garkin's apprentice. He's the one who's been handling the magic for our pervert since he lost his powers."
"Really?"
asked Istvan eagerly.
"Can you do the cups and balls trick? I love the cups and balls trick."
"I don't understand,"
mumbled Quigley vacantly, backing away from the assemblage. Well, if we were ever going to have a diversion, it would have to be now. Closing my eyes, I changed Quigley's features. The obvious choice for his disguise was me. "See," said Frumple, pointing proudly. "I told you so."
"Throckwaddle!"
exclaimed the two imps simultaneously. "What?" said Frumple, narrowing his eyes suspiciously. I was ready for them. As the exclamations rose, I changed Quigley again. This time I gave him Throckwaddle's features.
"Why, it is Throckwaddle!"
cried Istvan.
"Oh, that's funny."
"Wait a minute," Brockhurst hissed. "How could you be Throckwaddle when we turned you into a statue before we caught up with Throckwaddle?" This set Istvan off into even greater peals of laughter.
"Stop,"
he crawled, breathless.
"Oh, stop. Oh, my ribs hurt. Aahz, Aahz, you've outdone yourself this time. Oh."
"It's, nothing really," Aahz acknowledged modestly.
"There is something wrong here,"
Frumple declared. He plunged a hand deep into his robe, never taking his eyes from Quigley. Almost too late, I realised what he was doing. He was going for his crystal, the one that let him detect disguises. As the glittering bauble emerged, I swung into action. A simple levitation, a small flick with my mind, and the crystal popped out of Frumple's grasp and plopped into the wine jug.
"Frummits!"
Frumple swore, starting to fish for his possession.
"Get your hands out of the wine, Frumple,"
Aahz chided, slapping his wrist.
"You'll get your toy when we finish the jug."
As if to illustrate his point, he hefted the jug and began refilling the flagons round the table.
"Enough of this insanity!"
Quigley exploded. I winced at the use of the word insanity, but Istvan didn't seem to mind. He merely leant forward to watch Quigley.
"I'm neither Skeeve nor Throckwaddle," Quigley continued. "I am Quigley, demon hunter extraordinaire. Let any dispute who dare, and a man or demon, I'll show him who I am."
This proved too much for Istvan, who actually collapsed in laughter.
Oh, he's funny, Aahz,"
he gasped.
"Where did you find this funny man?" "You sent him to me, remember?" Aahz prompted. "Why, so I did.
Istvan mused, and even this fact he seemed to find hysterically funny. The others were not so amused.
"So, you're a demon hunter, eh?" Frumple snarled. "What's your gripe, anyway?"
"The offences of demons are too numerous to list," Quigley retorted haughtily.
"We aren't going anywhere for a while," Brockhurst chimed in from the stairs, "and neither of you. List us a few of these offences."
"Well," began Quigley, "you stole my magic pendant and my magic sword."
"We don't know anything about a magic pendant." Higgins bristled. "And we gave you so-called magic sword too."
"What else do demons do?"
Frumple interrupted, apparently none too eager to have the discussion turn to swords.
"Well, you bewitched my war unicorn into thinking he's a dragon,"
Quigley challenged. "Your war unicorn is currently tethered in the stable," Higgins stated flatly. "Frumple brought him in."
"My unicorn is tethered outside the door," Quigley insisted, "and he thinks he's a dragon."
"Your unicorn is tethered in the stable," Higgins barked back, "and we think you're a fruitcake."
Gentlemen.
Istvan managed to hold up his hands despite his laughter.
"All this is quite amusing, but, well, will you look at that?"
The last was said in such a tone of wonder that the attention of everyone in the room was immediately drawn to the spot he was looking at. Suspended in mid-air, not 2 handspans from Istvan's head, was a small red dart with gold and black fletchings.
An assassin's dart?
Istvan marvelled, gently plucking the missile from where it was hovering.
Now who would be naughty enough to try and poison me from behind?
His eyes slowly moved to Brockhurst sitting casually on the stairs. Brockhurst suddenly realised he was the object of everyone's attention. His eyes widened in fright.
No, I wait, Istvan. He half rose, holding out a hand as if to ward off a blow. I didn't. No, don't.
The last was said as his hand suddenly flew to his throat, and he began choking him violently. He fell back on the stairs and began rolling frantically back and forth.
Istvan,
Higgins began hesitantly.
Normally I wouldn't interfere, but don't you think you should hear what he has to say first?
But I'm not doing anything.
Istvan blinked with hurt innocence. My eyes flashed to the other end of the mezzanine. Tanda was crouched there, her eyes closed. She seemed to be choking an invisible person on the floor in front of her. With dawning realization, I began to appreciate more and more the subtleties of a trained assassin.
You aren't doing anything, Higgins shrilled. Well then, do something. He's dying.
I thought for a moment that the ludicrous statement would set Istvan to laughing again, but riot this time.
Oh, he sighed. This is all so confusing. Yes, I guess you're right.
He clicked his fingers and Brockhurst stopped thrashing about and began breathing again in long, ragged breaths.
Here, old boy, said Aahz. Have some wine.
He offered Brockhurst a brimming flagon, which the imp began to gulp gratefully.
Aahz,
Istvan said sternly.
I don't think you've been honest with us. Me?
Aahz asked instantly.
Even you couldn't have caused as much havoc without assistance. Now, where is it coming from?
He closed his eyes and turned his face toward the ceiling for just one moment.
Ah,
he suddenly proclaimed.
Here it is.
There was a squawk from the other end of the mezzanine, and Tanda was suddenly lifted into view by unseen hands.
Higgins,
exclaimed Istvan.
Another one. Well, the day is full of surprises.
Tanda held her silence as she was floated down to a chair on a level with the others.
Now let's see.
Istvan mumbled to himself.
Have we missed anybody?
I felt the sudden pressure of invisible forces and realised I was next. I tried desperately to think of a disguise, but the only thing that came to mind was Gleep, so I tried it.
A dragon?
Cried Brockhurst as I floated into view.
Gleep,
I said, rolling my eyes desperately.
Oh, now that's too much.
Istvan pouted.
I wanted to see who I'm dealing with.
He gave a vacant wave of his hand, and the disguises disappeared. All of them. I was me, Quigley was Quigley, Tanda was Tanda, the Imps were Imps, and the Deville was a Deville. Aahz, of course, was Aahz. Apparently a moratorium had been declared on disguises by a majority of 1. Istvan. I came drifting down to join the others, but my entrance was generally ignored in the other proceedings.
Tanda,
Istvan cried enthusiastically.
Well, this is a reunion, isn't it?
Bark at the moon, Istvan, Tanda snarled defiantly. Quigley was looking at everyone else with such speed I thought his head would fall off.
I don't understand,
he whimpered plaintively.
Shut up, Quigley,
Aahz growled.
We'll explain later.
That's assuming there is a later,
Frumple sneered.
I tended to agree with Frumple.
The atmosphere in the room no longer had the semblance of joviality. It was over. We had lost. We were all exposed and captured, and Istvan was as strong as ever. Whatever Aahz's secret weapon was, it apparently hadn't worked.
Well, I'm afraid all things must come to an end,
Istvan sighed, draining his flagon.
Now I'm afraid I'll have to dispose of you.
He sounded genuinely sad, but somehow I couldn't muster any sympathy for his plight.
Just one question before we begin, Aahz,
he asked in surprisingly sane tones.
Oh, what's that?
Aahz responded.
Why did you do it? I mean, with as feeble a team as this, how did you possibly hope to beat me?
Istvan sounded genuinely sincere.
Well, Istvan,
Aahz drawled.
That's a matter of opinion. What's that supposed to mean?
Istvan asked suspiciously.
I don't hope we can beat you,
Oz smiled.
I know we can.
Really?
Istvan chuckled.
And upon what are you basing your logic?
Why, I'm basing it on the fact that we've already won.
Oz blinked innocently.
It's all over, Istvan, whether you realize it or not.
Dun-dun! What's happened? What's been going on? What's happening? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on? So, this is part 1 for today. Well, it's chapter 24. We're doing chapter 25 in a minute. But I will still say, if you are too hot, hydrate. Get yourself in some shade. If you are too cold, wrap yourself up snuggy in a blanket and have a nice hot cuppa. If you're humid, that was another one that's run into the mix today. Well, I think with the humidity, I'm an absolute slave to humidity. I cannot stand it and I don't like it, and it's not very nice, and I really just don't like it. There's not really much you can do apart from just try and have a nice cool flannel on you and try and keep cool, and lots of air conditioning and air movement. That's generally very, very nice. But yeah, cold flannel on the wrists and the forehead is generally a good one, I reckon. Well, depending on the humidity or the monsoon seasons in Hong Kong. Now, they was something else entirely. But then again, they are in the southern hemisphere, so it's a kind of like, you know. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling because I'm going to start recording again. So, between now and then, take it easy, Petal.